Welcome back to The Truth Hurts, where we expose corrupt politicians and lying corporate media. My name is Jake Duesenberg, and joining me today is Mega Jesse. How you doing, Mega Jesse?
I'm doing great. I just got some good news. The Donald J. Trump is returning to Twitter and social media. This is fantastic. It's about time. He should have never been censored in the first place. Big news.
Okay, I want to leave this to the end of the show because I think there was something going on Twitter yesterday about this, like with the feds, and I'm not up to date on that story. But I don't want to jump the stories that we have got to cover.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
got a really important show. Also joining us is Arthur over there. How you doing there, William Beck?
Good to be here, Jake. And Jesse, I did see that. I'm sure Trump is going to take the opportunity to talk about the millions of lives that he saved with his vaccines.
Well, you know what?
He's really on that right now.
Would have been 5 to 10 years if he didn't have Operation Warp Speed. He always gave us the choice to do what we wanted with our bodies.
I
stand with it.
I think they had been developing that vaccine for a while and knew exactly what they were going to do.
Yeah, I mean, they'd been developing that virus for a long time, too, in Wuhan.
That's right.
So.
No shit. Okay, let's get into a couple things up front. We might have to touch on some of those topics at the end of the show because you just threw it. You threw it down, and I think that that brings back the Stump the Trump segment. What is a male? What's a female? Biology is a science. There's biologists. They know this. It's XX versus XY. It's a different anatomy. But if you're a legislator in Minnesota, you don't know the difference. Apparently, this is a viral video. I think Alpha News might have been the one that originated it. William, you probably know better than me.
Yes.
Over 3 million views, probably countrywide, just because it's so it's just like a lunatic's world here. Dawson, pull up this tweet. This is Sandra Feist, Representative Sandra Feist, in a committee on a bill that HF 44 about providing tampons in bathrooms. And, of course, some clever liberals thought, hey, it shouldn't only be in women's bathrooms. It should also be in the male's bathroom. So listen to what she has to say here.
I would encourage the committee to vote no on this amendment for a few reasons: practical, financial, social, emotional. First, there are a lot of schools that are moving towards gender-neutral bathrooms, and if we add female, we might become obsolete very quickly. Second, not all students who menstruate are female. We need to make sure that all students have access to these products. There are obviously less non-female menstruating students, and therefore their usage will be much lower. And that was actually calculated into the cost of this and how much we decided to fund it. And so we do not expect that the non-female menstruating students will use these products as much as the students using female bathrooms, but it's important to have them there. And that brings me to just the social emotional reasons for that. These students who are not female, who menstruate, face a greater stigma and barrier to asking for these products. And so providing them in an easily accessible place in all student bathrooms is particularly important for those students.
One might call her a science denier. Fair enough, because like biologically, there's a difference between males and females. Females produce eggs. Females menstruate. Men do not. They do not menstruate. That is a biological truth.
Yep.
Unless something in the universe has been disguised this whole time and we don't understand the full. Maybe she's just that. She knows something we don't know. She's like this new branch of physics that hasn't been discovered yet. It seems to be a biological truth here. Women have XX chromosomes. Men have XY chromosome. I actually asked Representative Feist if she would like to come on our show. We haven't gotten a response yet, unfortunately. I would have been nice, have been respectful, but I would have brought up the science, because I'm sure if we talked about climate change, you would have brought up the science on that one, wouldn't you? Or you want to talk about masking or vaccines, you would have brought up the science on that stuff. So let's bring up the science. What's Britannica say on this thing? Pull that up there, Dawson. Oh, I love to see myself twice on the screen. Look at that. Small window and big window. Dawson's having a hell of a day, by the way. That's why we were a little delayed. I'm going to say it's all his fault. It's nothing to do with the technological gods out there. There we go. From Britannica, individuals have 2 X chromosomes, XX, are female. Individuals having 1 X chromosome and 1 Y chromosome, XY, are male. There is a difference between males and females in the human species. Well, in all species, but I think in all species. I don't know. I probably shouldn't speak out of that. There might be some like small, like microscopic organism that there isn't a difference. Because I think there actually are organisms that don't have a gender. Like they definitely don't have any difference.
Right, and there's frogs that are changing genders. You know, Alex Jones, of course, taught us this, that there are frogs out there with the chemicals in the water that are becoming gay. They're starting to have sex with other male frogs.
They're changing
they're
sexes.
changing genders, yes.
They're changing sexes, not genders.
Okay.
And this is the interesting thing.
Wait. That's what they're doing? You're saying is they actually are changing their sex?
Yes.
So they're not identifying as a different gender.
Right, exactly.
Right,
It's
I
not
thought they were
identifying
just turning them
things.
gay.
Wait, what?
I thought they were just turning them gay.
No, and
Well, they're under the
Changing gender.
LGBT
But then if they,
Changing sex.
but are they? Well, hold on. What makes them gay then?
because they're having sex with other male frogs.
But what if they're now a female?
Well, then that's what happens. They eventually become a female.
Okay, well, Sandra Feist apparently believes this is happening with human
With
beings.
humans as well, yes.
Well, so this is what they used to do, though. They used to cover themselves and say, well, gender is different than sex. So boys and girls, you can identify as whatever you want, but biologically, that's what you're born with. But now, by using the terms male and female and talking about menstruation, she's completely disregarding all of that and just saying, to heck with biology. If you feel a certain way, you can identify as that, and it's a reality.
It's a fantastic point, William. Not Arthur, by the way, if you are watching the show for the first time. He's just zoom out there real quick. He's the one that told me I'm dressed like Arthur.
And Jake didn't know what Arthur was.
I knew who Arthur was. I guess I didn't understand the reference at
Hopefully your
first.
kids are watching Arthur.
No, they don't watch.
because-
They watch Daniel Tiger, and they like Wildcrats. You know, Wildcrats had a segment on wearing masks. I was like, what are my kids watching?
Exactly. See, I bet there wasn't masking Arthur.
Science, right?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Science.
No
They are
COVID
science
vaccines.
deniers, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
Complete
but
science
you know, one
deniers.
thing I'm thinking when I see this, they're kind of encouraging children to become transgender. They're encouraging kids to change their sex. You know, you're able to go into whatever bathroom you want. There's going to be tampons for everybody. And I was saying before the show, if I was a kid walking into a school restroom and I see tampons and pads and everything else, I'm going to be a prankster. I'm going to start messing around with it. They can't expect to be doing these kinds of things and expect that these boys aren't going to mess around.
I never had that. I never thought of that. That's a good point. You know, there's some pushes in Minnesota to have bathrooms, co-ed bathrooms, essentially. Now imagine how much that's going to be abused.
Oh, yeah.
And then who's monitoring that bathroom?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now Sandra Feist, just bear with me on this one. An adult male teacher or an adult female teacher? There is a difference. Why don't we pull up the anatomy here, Dawson? Let's get the frontal view. This is now in 6th grade. You'll learn this, or they did learn this at one point. Sandra, on the left is a male. Okay, that is a male. They do not menstruate. You see that? That's a testes and a penis on the bottom. On the right is a female anatomy. That's an egg-producing species or an egg-producing individual. And I should have pushed up on my side. There's fallopian tubes and there's ovaries somewhere in there. I remember in 6th grade, none of us took this serious, and of course, I apparently haven't grown up in the last 30 years or whatever it's been. But those are the differences. Now, give me a side view, Sandra Feist. If you came on the show, obviously you probably saw right through it. We were gonna bring up science, and you didn't want to be a part of that. On the top is a female. On the bottom is a male. Okay. Once again, big difference. Do I need to point out the difference? Do I need to? She's here.
No.
I might have to.
I think you're having fun pointing out the differences, Jake.
Well, when I said on the top is a female, I almost bursted out laughing because it's just like, how do you not go down that gutter? There's a difference between a male and a female. And you're making a great point, William. They might have the slightest argument when you talk about gender identity because maybe it is a social construct. However, I think it's still good to say men are grown males and women are grown females, right? But they might have the slightest little argument as society kind of deems characteristics being following certain traits. Okay, I'm not there with them. I just want to make this very clear. I think men and women are different, and the left definitely can't define what women are, but they still use it. They say a woman's right to choose. Well, what is a woman's right to choose, right? There is
What
no
is a
woman. You
woman?
can't define what a woman is. And we're going to get into that where it's really important here with a crazy bill going through the Minnesota House. So does that have a Senate companion, HF?
Yeah, it's like SF 70 something, I want to say.
Oh,
I can confirm that.
Yeah, I got to look into that and who the authors are. So
You
what
wanna
now
take a
they're doing
guess?
is it's like a sleight of hand is they're actually going in and trying to change the science. And the science is settled here, right, Anthony Fauci? In fact, what would Anthony Fauci, if he was given this question, what would he say?
Oh, yeah.
ultra
No, I
woke?
mean, I'm sure he just falls in line with the talking points nowadays.
I'm not a
Maybe,
biologist. I can't answer that.
yeah, that's a pretty good impression.
Yeah, it's
pretty good.
SF 70.
SF70. Okay, we'll pull that up when we pull up that bill. So there is a obvious difference between these two things, and Sandra Feist is literally conflating the biology with the social construct. In this point, it's like, who's the science denier? It's not us on the right. It's you. You are the clear science denier on this issue. All for a bill to have tampons provided by you, the taxpayer. Now, I honestly didn't know that this was even a deal, but why would I know? Because I am a male and I didn't use female bathrooms growing up. So I didn't know. I know there's a lot of bathrooms that have tampons in them, right? You guys come
I'm
from the
sure.
generation where gender is fluid, right?
Yeah,
I mean, the
I've
bathrooms
never-
here don't have tampons. I was about to file a complaint.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wasn't going to take that complaint serious from you, but we can take it serious from other people that work here. Interesting point. Maybe I have to do that. Can we at least agree that this is a local issue and the school districts can decide this themselves, or even the schools? Why are we doing this in the legislature? But even more importantly, you're saying you're going to take my taxpayer money to put tampons in the boys' bathroom? That's utterly ridiculous. It's not the worst thing that we're going to talk about using my taxpayer money for, but that's what's in this bill, right? Essentially what they're arguing for is we're going to put them in the boys' bathroom. And Jesse, that's a fantastic point. The boys aren't going to take this thing serious.
Of course not. Yeah, it's probably not going to be for anyone, actually. You know, there's not going to be any students that go into the men's restroom that are actually a woman. It doesn't make any sense. What are we talking about? You know, and we see all these liberals out there, they just bend over backwards to benefit this transgender agenda. And that you know, China and Russia are laughing at us. The world is laughing at us. They can't believe that we are so stupid, that we are, you know, putting all of these societal needs ahead, you know, the transgenders ahead of all these problems. It doesn't make any sense.
All right. Well, Sandra Feist, if you ever want to debate the science, come on in. We'd love to have you, or we could Zoom in. We could send you a link. You could Zoom in. We'll stay on topic. If we agree to the topics, we'll do it. I won't Pierce Morgan you. We will stay on the topics. Did you like that one, Jesse?
Yeah, no, that was good. If people haven't watched that Pierce Morgan Alex Jones interview, they need to. That thing is fire.
Yes. I stayed 30 minutes later last night just to watch that with you.
Mhm.
Fantastic stuff. There's so many things I want to talk about. Davos, that would have been interesting. More things on the vaccine. We'll have Mark Bashofsky in here soon to talk about that. But as we talk about males versus females, men versus women, an interesting thing popped up in the most extreme bill that we have ever seen on abortion in Minnesota. So a lot of you guys are tracking HF1, House File 1, and Senate File 1, which is the abortion in all cases bill. But that wasn't good enough for the Democrats here in Minnesota. They are actually tweaking more things in state statute, and it is really bad. Dawson, pull up our news article on actionforliberty.com. If you go to actionforliberty.com, you'll see it's our newest article. Minnesota Democrats ready to pass most radical abortion laws in the nation. This is so crazy, but I want to first draw your attention, and then I'll have William address it. Scroll down a little bit. It's bullet point. Which one is it? Bullet point number 6. Ending the requirement. No. That's
5.
5. Eliminating the word woman from state statute. Now look, guide me to where that is on this page here.
So just scroll down. It has its own title there. So further. There you go.
Okay.
Right there.
So in current Minnesota statute, and this is how we do bills here in Minnesota, if you strike something out, that means it's the old language and it's being removed. And then when you underline something, that's the language that's being added. So in section 145.411, subdivision 5 of Minnesota statute, 2022, it says abortion includes an act, procedure, or use of any instrument, medicine, or drug which is supplied or prescribed for or administered to, and originally it says a pregnant woman. That has been struck out and says an individual with the intention of terminating and then finishes up with what the normal language is, which results in the termination of pregnancy. This is how insanely woke and crazy these people are. They literally just removed a woman in the bill. Now it's an individual because, men can get pregnant. No, they can't. FYI, that's not science. That's how crazy these people are. And then I just beg the question, when you go on the campaign trail and tell us that it's a women's right to choose, that it's women's reproductive care, you're now taking the woman out of the actual bill. Were you lying to people?
I was told that if you weren't a woman, you didn't get an opinion on this issue. Is that not what they tell us?
That's what they've been telling us.
So what's the deal here?
And then, once again, it begs the question, and if you haven't seen that documentary by Matt Walsh on the Daily Wire, fantastic. What is a woman? They can't answer. He goes to a women's march. No one can define what a woman is. It's their big problem. All right, so, William, I want you to walk us through this great article you wrote about HF 91. And then let's actually pull that up real quick, too, just to show you how many lunatic Democrats have signed on board.
Yeah, so scroll back to the top, and then HF 91's highlighted there. That's a link. Yeah, so I shared this with you guys last night. I believe it was...
Hold on. Go to the authors and status on the top.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, he's linking right to the language. So you see this is how many people have authored it, right?
Including Taxon Tabke, who's from, I would say, a swing district, right?
Yeah. Look at this. Oh, look, it's Yoakum, Cheryl Yoakum, who follows us on Facebook, right, as we learned. Actually, well, we'll see if she's on that last page. If one of these individuals is your legislator, let them hear from you. And, of course, Sandra Feiss is on this, and the Speaker of the House, Melissa Hortman. Now, click up on the top in the middle where it says SF70. That's the companion bill in the Senate. Who's on that one?
The usual suspects.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they're limited to only 5, 1 author and 4 co-authors in the Senate. So who knows who else would have got on that bill. All right, anyhow, introduce this bill to everybody so they know how extreme this is.
Yeah.
And let's go back to the Action for Liberty article on it.
So I sent this to you. I sent you guys a tweet thread last night. We talked about this morning. You said, well, I want proof. I don't want just tweets because these look absolutely insane. So and the tweet thread is from, I think it's Greg Pierce. But I went through the bill, and we looked at each provision together, and we confirmed that each of these things is actually legitimate. They're either striking out old state statutes that protect women and then protect the child if they're born. And then that also, they also introduce a bunch of new language. So the first one, they're going to change the state statutes to allow for abortions in hospitals. Previously, it was only allowed at certain centers that actually got a license from the health commissioner. They're doing away with the licensing, by the way. You no longer need a license.
Yeah, just like the COVID vaccine, they're going to start having dentists, performing these abortions. It's just, I've never even known that liberals actually wanted to have abortions at hospitals. I'd never even considered that, that's what they wanted, but they're willing to push this to an extreme.
Well, yeah, because they want to have as many abortions as possible.
Mm-hmm.
These conspiracies about population control, that would be the number one population control is don't let them be born. That's what China literally did.
Yep. And now their
by the way,
population
I
is
got to
declining.
mention Cheryl Yoakum just joined on our page. See, it's so funny how that is. I don't know why it keeps pulling her up. Maybe she follows us daily
She joins
on the
over
socials.
and over again. Yeah.
I would imagine that's what the algorithm is. It's following someone that's on our socials regularly. So hi, Cheryl.
Yeah.
I really hope she's tuning in. She's got a. Do you want to check the comments? Maybe we're getting.
Cheryl, you're
people
welcome to
piping
come
in.
on to our show and debate the science with us. Female versus male. Study up on that anatomy that I posted earlier. All right. So abortion's allowed in hospitals, so they
Yep.
make them much more readily available.
Yep. It also ends penalties for secretly and carelessly discarding of the body of an aborted baby.
Okay, now we got to dive into that. I think the language, where was the language? That's the second language that you have? This was fascinating.
So,
We were
Dawson,
going
if
through
you could
this
scroll
earlier.
down to the second point
Right
there.
there.
Right there.
Yep.
So previously, it was illegal to throw an aborted baby in a dumpster. Now, if this legislation passes, that would no longer be the case.
Yeah, and they strike out, they'll be guilty of a misdemeanor. So that's the only thing. So if you concealed the birth of a baby who died before and you
good.
still discard, you're fine now. No misdemeanor. That's what
Which
they're
I want to
doing.
hear the argument for this. I truly do.
Yeah. And then this section does not apply to the disposition of remains resulting from an abortion or a miscarriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like we do have one comment. It's a hater. This guy named Reed Rossell says, "Why are you sad girls whining about this? Jake, do you have a reason for why we're talking about abortion here?"
I am not a girl. That is very obvious. Let's go
Yeah,
back
exactly.
to the anatomy.
This
Pull up
guy
the
needs-
anatomy, Reed.
He needs to
Yeah,
rewatch
exactly.
the first part of the
Yes.
show
Right,
here.
come on,
Right.
Reed, pay attention.
It wasn't paying. We got the side
Pay
view up
attention.
here. I'm the guy on the bottom there. That's me. Well, it's a little not so flattering there, but I was in a cold pool. So the bottom is me. That's a male. So girls would be on the top. Reed, maybe that's the category you identify as.
Yo,
I'm not so certain it's a troll, by the way. It might just be a guy having fun with us.
right.
Might be
could
Dennis
be.
Wiesenberg's alter ego too.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm still getting over that.
What's that? The pool comment?
Do
you know that reference, Seinfeld?
family-friendly show here.
Yeah, from Seinfeld. I
Yeah,
know
the
what you're
shrink-
We
talking
don't have
about.
kids watching our show, although I know that's the demo you're going with, dressed like Arthur today.
Got to expand our audience.
We're marked on YouTube as not for kids.
What's that?
We're marked on YouTube as not for kids.
Are
so-
you on mic right now?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
All right, we are. Well, yeah, but that's a weird thing that YouTube does. Plus,
Yeah.
we're not going to be defined by YouTube. We'll be off air.
Yeah,
Is
that
the only
YouTube
comment,
algorithm.
by the way?
It looks like we
YouTube,
just
or
got another one here too from Tom Newfield. I believe the whole House votes on this today at 3 p.m.
Yeah,
Sad.
I'm-
and yep,
So
you're right.
This is a different one.
Tom-
HF1 is being voted on
Yes,
today.
yes, Tom. I appreciate you bringing that up. So we'll be back here live at 3:30 with live commentary from the House floor session. I think it'll just be Jesse and me in studio, but we're going to be breaking down what's going on. So that is their abortion, basically in all cases bill, and it's much shorter language. That's what's going to be voted on in the Minnesota House today. We thought this was going to be voted on yesterday, and the Senate would vote on it. So it seems like it's stalling, but if you watch our last program, we actually gave you some numbers. And you could also go to actionforliberty.com and read up a little bit more on it. So great point, Tom. All right, let's go back to the next thing that this bill does.
And you can actually stay right there. Scroll down just a tad bit. So the next one is taxpayer funding for abortion in nearly all circumstances.
And,
So,
and that's what I was alluding to, is it's
Yep.
not just the tampons that we were paying for boys' bathrooms.
Mhm.
We're now apparently paying for all abortions, but this one's fascinating.
So as it currently stands, you can only get an abortion with taxpayer dollars if it threatens the life of the mother or in instances of rape and incest, I believe.
But what
This-
they're referring to is medical assistance. And this is what we've long argued, is Republicans are funding abortions. So this is exactly what we've been referencing. When Republicans vote for the Health and Human Services Omnibus Bill, which is the vast majority of Republicans vote for this, they're actually voting to allocate money, to appropriate money to the medical assistance program, which is what women use. I'm sorry. It's what individuals use to get abortions, because it's not just women that get pregnant, right? It's getting so distracting. It's so hard to follow through with all this stuff, right? So now, instead of just in the cases where it's what was it, a threat to the life, it was at least somewhat.
There were some restrictions,
some
and now they
restrictions.
more or less eliminate all of those restrictions.
Yeah, and you could see this right here it's just a big strike through of all these restrictions. So now it just says medical assistance covers abortion services. Every exemption is gone.
Yeah, and you can see, starting with that line, I think it lists the conditions. It strikes that line out, and then it strikes all the following as well.
So medical necessity is one thing. So that's where you can. Okay, so it says, but only if the following conditions. But only if one of the following conditions are met. And it says abortion is a medical necessity. Okay, which is basically it's written by two physicians indicating abortion is medically necessary. Number 2, the pregnancy is a result of criminal sexual conduct. And number 3, the pregnancy is a result of incest, but only if the incident and relative are reported to a valid law enforcement agency. So I thought medical assistance actually covered more things. Maybe there's conflict in the state statute. But now what they're doing is they're like basically for any reason up to moment of birth, you can have an abortion, and an individual can have an abortion, and you've got to pay for it as a taxpayer.
That's right.
And the way that this will get funded every year is through the Health and Human Services Omnibus Bill. So it's not just like it's not like they vote for the medical assistance program, which is actually like a federal pass-through funding. It's going to actually be passed in a massive bill that no one's even reading. That's probably like 1,000 pages and $20 billion of total expenditures.
Yep.
There you go. That's how broken the process is.
Exactly. The next one removes parental notification for minors. It's exactly what it sounds like. Previously, if you were performing an abortion on a minor, the parents had to know about it, and they had to be notified within 48 hours, I think, something like that. This seeks to remove that. So if you look at the repealer section of the legislation, you can see it removes state statute, and the TV is a little far away, 144.343. And then you scroll down, so it also lists the state statute. It's a little bit small to read there, but it more or less states what I just said.
Notwithstanding the provision of this section, no abortion operation shall be performed upon an unemancipated minor or upon a woman. Oh no, they got rid of woman again. For whom a guardian has been appointed pursuant to sections. Well, so that's actually interesting. So not only is it accounting for minors, it's also accounting for somebody who is probably of a mental state that's not incapable of making decisions legally. Because that's the way I would read that. A woman from whom a guardian has been appointed.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's gone too.
It's so evil what these guys are doing. I just don't know another way to look at it. Is they're going through and finding a way to make abortion in all cases, in all circumstances, legal, and we have to pay for it and can't know about it if it's our daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's a stretch to say that this is just evil. It really genuinely is, and I do not know the arguments behind half of these proposals here. The other half, I know the arguments, but they're just stupid. I mean, they made the arguments in the campaign trail, and this is the thing, is people say, well, elections have consequences. Doesn't mean you have to settle with this. These people have got to understand they will suffer in the next election for this thing. And if Republicans had any sense, which they don't because they're still led by corrupt David Hand, who literally said abortion's not on the ballot and it's in the Constitution. What an idiot. But if they had any sense, they're going to go hard against these Democrats, especially in the swing districts, about this radical stuff. Imagine you can't know about what your daughter's doing. You have a 15-year-old daughter who got pregnant, and her brain's not fully formed at that point. And so you're saying, and I've heard this from people, Planned Parenthood, it's just like they want you to have an abortion. Like they're, Rush Limbaugh used to call them feminazis, and it was defined as like people who just really want to kill babies, right? And that's how I've heard it described, Planned Parenthood described to me, from somebody who was contemplating that decision. I chatted with a woman on the phone who ended up having a child from a sexual assault, and that child's now like middle school age. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, good for them. Like, especially
big time.
from the result of a sexual assault. Like, I really do commend that. That's a hard thing to do, but I got to imagine it's worth it for that mother who now has a child.
The child's a beautiful, beautiful kid, and his life is precious. And even if the result was from a sexual assault, Does it matter in the end? That's the thing that's really upsetting about abortion is you got to define when life begins. And when life begins, it doesn't matter where the baby came from. Like if it was a result of something like sexual assault, it doesn't matter at that point. If it's a life, it's a life. We have to protect life. And they don't want to do that. And it's nowhere in this bill. There's no exception. If you're 7 pounds, 39 weeks, you can be aborted. All right, then there's a repealer section, right? Do I have that?
Yes,
correct?
we went through one of the repealers. We talked about eliminating the word woman at the beginning.
Yep.
So let's go to the second repealer there. And that's 145.412. Am I reading that right?
Yep.
Sweet. Okay. Don't need glasses yet. This is one that shocked me, and this is one of the ones that I simply don't understand. It eliminates essentially the whole criminal penalties section. So one of the most notable ones here is that it is no longer illegal to not notify the police or any kind of authority when a woman passes away after an abortion. So the doctor just gets off scot-free. The doctor has no obligation to report that if a woman dies on the operating table.
So I don't even like. Obviously, a death's reported, but like it says not reported. The circumstance. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting.
It's
Which one is? I can see it a little closer here.
Yeah, I can't quite read it from here, but
Requirement. All right. It shall be unlawful to willfully perform an abortion unless the abortion is performed by a physician licensed. This doesn't sound like it is the provision you're talking about. Where am I looking here? It says 145.412 criminal acts, and then there's a requirement section. Then there's an unconscious life-saving. This might be it. It shall be unlawful to perform an abortion upon a woman who is unconscious except if the woman has been rendered unconscious for the purpose of having an abortion or if the abortion is necessary to save the life of the woman. Okay, they're getting rid of that too, I guess. That doesn't seem to be it.
So you could hypothetically just bring in an unconscious woman and have an abortion performed on them. They get rid of the word. You see the word consent in there?
Yeah, I think this. So viability. It shall be unlawful to perform an abortion when the fetus is potentially viable unless the abortion is performed in a hospital. The attending physician certifies in writing that in the physician's best medical judgment, the abortion is necessary to preserve the life or the health of the pregnant woman. To the extent consistent with sound medical practice, abortion is performed under circumstances which reasonably assure the live birth and the survival of the fetus. I don't know where you're pulling what you just said, William. You must not have brought that into the article.
I must have put the wrong screenshot in there. We'll have to fix that.
But that definitely is. Those are the things that are getting repealed. So.
Right. That this is alarming nonetheless.
Right. Exactly.
No, I'm not sure why I didn't put the right screenshot in there, but no, we were talking about it earlier when we were looking over the legislation.
Right. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So we'll have to fix that and make a note at the bottom there.
Gotcha.
After we fix it.
Well, and for you at home, if you want to look at it, we got the link HF91 on the top, and then it's companion bill in the Senate's SF70. Not what's being voted on this afternoon. So 3:30, we'll be back here live with live commentary on this debate on the floor about that issue. Also, follow us on Twitter at @action_liberty. You can see it over there. And also, I want to let you know, we had to change something on Rumble, and a lot of you who were subscribed got booted off. So just make sure you go to our page and hit subscribe. Either Action for Liberty or The Truth Hurts, but make sure you hit subscribe so you follow our show on Rumble. I guess if you want to be on YouTube too, we'd leave that option out there because some of you guys like to follow on YouTube. Some of you follow on Facebook. Just a very small smidgen of people follow on Facebook because Facebook definitely doesn't like us. Mm-hmm. So let's go to. Do we have any comments before we go?
Nothing that I'm seeing right now.
Okay.
We did miss one from Dennis Wiesenberg on YouTube, and I accidentally closed out of it. So, Dawson, do you have access to the comments?
Yeah, I do.
Let's see. He said physics and science equals Einstein.
He also says
that's what he said.
That's his brilliant comment.
He also says you're bad with the incorrect your.
He doesn't know the difference of yours
and a capital K.
Yeah.
In a third comment.
Oh man, do you have that photo he sent me, the old style?
Not up.
You don't have that available?
No.
Okay. All right. I'm moving on. All right. What did you bring up at first? Oh, your news
Trump is
on
back.
Trump's going on Twitter. So tell me about this controversy with the feds if he goes on Twitter and Facebook. I'm not following the story, but I saw some headlines.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what you're saying. The controversy.
You
with
know
the
it,
feds,
William?
So yeah, William, if you got
All right.
something.
Go ahead, Arthur.
Well, the the big controversy comes from Elon Musk. So Elon replied to someone who pitched this headline that Trump's coming back. And I don't remember what he said specifically, but he said something along the lines of, we'll see if the feds get on me for letting Trump back on Twitter. Which, you know, that very well could happen. You saw what happened with the Hunter Biden story where the feds intimidated Twitter and Facebook execs.
Right.
It very well could happen.
Do
And
you
that's
think-
where the headlines are coming from.
Yep.
Imagine them doing that now with Elon at the helm. That would seem crazy.
Oh, he would report it right away.
Right.
He would
Yeah.
let everyone know about it.
But you assume they still do it with Facebook. So why would Twitter? I thought he wasn't going back on Twitter because he had to deal with Truth. or-
Yeah, that's also one of the layers of this is his deal with Truth Social that he's going to stay on there. I'm not sure if I mean, obviously this is Trump we're talking about. He has the negotiating power with Truth Social. It's basically Trump's company. And so Trump can obviously negotiate with them to be able to say, I want to be on Facebook and Twitter. I have to expand my base and reach out to the people that are, not on Truth Social. He has to reach out to all the people like he did in 2016 to have that energy. So
Yeah, I suppose, I didn't think of it that way. I've been thinking this the whole way. He wants to give exclusive rights to Truth, but Truth Social, but you're running for president. You got to go where the people are. Right? You don't really have an option here.
yeah.
And there's a lot of more people on Twitter and Facebook.
So what the Trump War Room has been doing, they have a new account on Twitter, by the way, but they've just been taking screenshots of his truths and then just posting them on Twitter.
Yeah, and doing that on Facebook's probably the best route because...
Well, so he's still banned on Facebook.
Of course he is.
Yeah, and actually, right around Christmas, me and my buddy, we decided to make a Facebook page called The Donald Trump Truth. And all we were going to do was repost everything that Donald Trump puts on Truth Social. Within half an hour, Facebook deleted the page. They wouldn't allow it to happen. All we wanted to do was share what the president had to say, and that's not allowed on Facebook. So Trump probably has a more uphill battle to deal with on Facebook. But, I think Zuckerberg wants Trump on there because that's bringing people in. That brings in money.
I don't know. I don't think they do. I mean, honest to God. And maybe Zuckerberg's not really running the show. That was the big argument against Jack Dorsey is there's just too many other people run the show. He can't manage it. If you believe him on Rogan, I guess. I don't know if I do. But certainly Twitter was messed up.
Yeah.
And Facebook is really messed up. I mean, we're on there because we do still have people following it, but they are shadow banning us all the time on Facebook. We literally don't call it the vaccine anymore. We call it the Pfizer carrot. I mean, we have to. We bring up vaccine, nothing happens. Like, no one's seeing it.
We're still shadow banned on Twitter, though. You were able to find it, but I was texting someone this morning. I told them to look up the Action for Liberty thing, and they're like, it doesn't come up.
Yeah,
It still
try this at
doesn't come
home,
up when I-
action_liberty. We just started a Twitter account because, quite frankly, it seems like they're pro-free speech now with Elon at the helm. But put that up on the screen there, Dawson. Action_liberty right down there. All right, see that? Okay. See if you can find us, or just type in Action for Liberty. But you put an @ before that, and you should be able to find us.
It doesn't
crazy.
come up when I do it, and I'm following them.
Listen,
knows.
Elon can't manage that whole thing, so it probably still like new accounts.
I'll shoot him a DM, and we'll get it sorted out.
Sure you
Yeah.
will. All right. What was the shot you took at Jesse? So this is Trump is claiming.
Yeah, so Newsweek had an article from either today or yesterday that repeated a quote from Trump. I think it was at one of his rallies or something.
It was in a podcast, yeah.
Or at a podcast.
Right.
He said that he saved 100 million lives.
That's not what he said. He said, some people say that I saved 100 million lives.
People are saying that
People
I
are
saved
saying,
lives.
Yes, 100 million lives.
That's what
right.
he does, though. He he says what he wants to say, and then he says that other people are saying.
Yeah, other people are saying this. Yeah, it's a good tactic.
And they also said Operation Warp Speed is the greatest thing ever. I think he got in past rallies when he's talked about the vaccine.
Dawson,
he's
I
got
put the link into the Google sheet. Will you pull that up here? let's fact check this live, all right? Because
All right.
I
Smokes.
want to get things correct, and it was really fascinating watching Pierce Morgan interviewed Alex Jones the other day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Alex Jones is damn entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
Not that I agree with him on everything, although there is evidence that he's turning the water's turning the frogs gay, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The evidence is there. You just got to go to Infowars.com to find it.
That's the best part of that.
Yeah.
Long story short, the guy did not get a fair shake on Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan had an agenda. And so, like Piers Morgan was lying. It's good to try to tell the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts, hence the name of the show. So is this where he said it this, on stage here?
No, this is misleading. So I think it was.
See,
on
that's
a
the thing.
podcast.
Yeah.
Exactly. I want to know what he said.
Right. That's
They
obviously.
changed the headline.
No, I think that's from a past rally, but he said on a podcast, Trump hasn't been holding his rallies for a while. He's going to have his first rally for 2024.
Well, do we have a link to the podcast? I want to hear what he had to say.
Yeah, I haven't actually listened to it. I just was
Go
reading
back to
the
the
quotes.
article, Dawson.
So that clip, in that video clip, though, he is talking about the vaccines.
Yeah, I'm sure. You'd
Well,
think
I'm
they're-
trying. There's a if you scroll down, he's the vaccine salesman. Well, that's just someone's comment about it. Was it on Fox News?
So this is interesting. There's the original headline in that tweet
Where?
right there. It says he saved 100 million lives, and they changed it. If you go back to the article now, it's a
Well,
different
maybe it's
headline.
a different article.
No, it's the same article. I think they may have. Maybe they couldn't back up their claim.
Well, hold on. Let's figure this out, right? This is from the article was written at 10:50 on the 17th.
Is this the one that I sent you, Jesse?
Could be.
I just looked it up on the fly, FYI.
Oh,
It's a day earlier.
This is.
So let's Google that headline. I want to find out about this thing. I think it's
I'll send it in
important
our
to be
group
correct
chat.
about what we're saying. There's a chance here William fell prey to fake news. Fake news.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, but
Jesse's like,
no, it's no secret that
Yo,
Trump
diamond
is
and silk.
adamantly pro-vaccine. We all know that. That's
Is
a
he?
fact.
I don't know. It's not a fact.
He literally developed the vaccines,
He
Jake.
didn't literally develop.
Not
What are you talking about?
pro-vaccine, I
He
mean-
didn't
He paved the
literally
way
develop
for
them.
Operation Warp Speed.
Yes, he
He
authorized it. I agree with that, but
he
he
cut
didn't
all
literally
the
develop it.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a scientist.
No, and also
Neither is Sandra
pro-vaccine.
Yeah, but
I
he's-
mean,
he
Neither
funded
is Sandra
it.
Feist, by the
look
way.
back to 2015. He was the one up there saying, that you can't be giving these shots to all these kids. In 2015, he was saying that, it can cause autism, that if you don't schedule things out properly, if you're just forcing injection after injection to these children. So Donald Trump isn't some, big pharma guy,
So he's anti-regular vaccine, but he's pro-mRNA vaccine.
well,
That's the inverse of what a lot of people are right now.
and it's not even that he's anti-vaccine. He's just saying that things should be spread out. And, he's allowed to control his own health decisions if he wants to get the jab, Same thing with Ron DeSantis, your boy Ron DeSantis. He likes getting that jab, too. He just likes to stay quiet
So
about
he
it.
actually just authorized a committee to investigate the COVID vaccines in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
What has Trump been doing on the adverse reactions?
Well, I don't know if you know this.
he
Trump
talked about
Trump is not the governor of Florida. Trump isn't
Trump's
able
the
to
former
start some
president of the
commission as
United
the
States with a huge following.
Yeah, of course.
with like
And-
zero authority on
and-
anything because they've done everything they can to silence him.
yeah,
with
they're
that-
trying
Okay,
to
before we
they're
go any
trying to
further,
put him in
guys,
jail.
I think it's important for us to actually know what he said. I mean, you've already admitted that Operation Warp Speed, it's a ding on Trump, and that's the few ones where you've like literally said it's not. There's no 14D chess or something.
That was
like
the article.
No, I think he was able to speed it up, and it's better to have them out now than having the no vaccine out there for a decade. People should have the choice to take it.
So they quote Trump here. So host David Brody asked the former president if he would acknowledge that the vaccines were not as safe as effective as were told by the medical community after repeating a number of unsubstantiated anti-vaccine claims. Quote Trump, I was able to get something approved that, that has proven to have saved a lot of lives. I'm bad Trump impression. I'm going to stop.
Welcome to Open Source News. Don't forget to like.
On the anti-vaccine narrative. And then, quote, some people say that I saved 100 million lives worldwide, end quote.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen the Shane McGillis little. I don't know who else is in the room, but he's doing his Trump impression.
Yeah.
Pull that up on YouTube.
Shane
Dawson.
Gillis, yeah.
Oh, is this on the Save
Shane
Our Parks?
Gillis
Did I say
with
Shane
the-
McGillis?
Yeah,
Shane Gillis.
Yeah, Shane Gillis.
Shane Gillis.
You're talking about the one on the Joe Rogan.
No, this
Experience,
isn't
right?
the one on the Joe Rogan because
Oh.
he
Oh, I
uses
thought
this
it was
line
the
because
same
Trump
one.
does this all the time. He goes, "Some people say,
A lot of people are telling me.
people are saying
Yeah.
it," and it's like you're saying it, you're just not saying it, right?
Yep. he's saying
I
a
don't
lot
know
of
if
people
we're
say
gonna
this.
give this. I think I'm almost ready to give this Newsweek article of Pinocchio, a couple Pinocchios.
What are you talking about, Jake? They put the quote in there.
Shane Gillis, scroll down a little bit.
Well, wait, you can't just call me a liar and then go watch
No,
a
just
Trump
one
clip.
second. I want to keep scrolling down. Did you type in Shane Gillis and Trump impression? All right, scroll down just a little bit more. No, it's not that one. He's on like someone else's podcast. See, I probably saw it. No, it's not on JRE. I probably saw it on the Instagrams.
See, I
And-
thought for sure it was because you and I are thinking it's the same one, right?
Yeah,
He
no,
was-
but he's done it on a few different places as
Right.
well, and obviously on
I think
stage
Mark
too, his stand-up.
I think Mark Norman was in the this one. Keep scrolling down a little bit more. I'm about to give up on this here.
Well, the
Oh,
one.
it might be that one. Yeah, it's the Trump off right there in red. Watch this.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
No,
Trump off?
no,
Trump
we're not
off.
Trump off.
Trump off. Trump off.
It's very good. There's a lot of guys doing.
A lot of people doing me. You're a very good impersonator.
He's nice at it.
It's not bad. Joe DeRosa, what a pig. Disgusting pig. He
I would
can't
love
stop.
to put the country on your shoulders, but Joe, it might slide off. I'm a very good comedian. I could be a comedian.
A lot of guys say Joe's built like a worm. I don't say that. But Joe is
Yep.
built like a
That's a
worm.
classic.
He looks like the Men in Black aliens grew up.
How good is that? Oh man.
Oh,
Shane
yeah.
Gillis is hilarious.
that
Okay.
was worth
Yeah, he is hilarious. He's
go
awesome.
to and we're putting you on the spot here, Dawson, but you're doing a fantastic job. David Brody and Trump. Google that. Maybe we'll find this podcast. It's called the Water Cooler, I guess.
I did spend some time looking it up. I can't find the actual episode or whatever of them coming
Well, it
out.
says the thing's called the Water Cooler. So go to YouTube and look up Water Cooler. Can you interview him on a platform on YouTube? Does that get cut off nowadays?
No, you're still allowed to every once in a while. They
Okay.
don't allow it though. Like when he was on Full Send with the Nelk Boys,
They took that one down?
Yeah, they did. YouTube forced them. YouTube essentially told the channel. They said, if you don't take down this video, we're going to get rid of your entire channel. So
Oh my God.
they caved, and Trump
Yeah.
called it out in the beginning. He said they're going to tell you to take this down.
Oh,
Don't
I
do
remember.
it.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yep.
On the phone, Trump's insane answer about Ron DeSantis.
he
Boy,
did.
that's
He did
not
talk about DeSanctimonious as well.
It could be
But that. See, this is actually kind of hard to find here. So it's the thing's called the Water Cooler. Look at the channel. The first video is the channel called the Water Cooler. What is that called?
It's
I
called the
can't see.
David Pakman Show.
Yeah, David Pakman's a leftist. It's definitely not him.
So what is the? It says interview on the conservative podcast, the Water Cooler. Water Cooler.
And to our audience, we didn't actually plan out the segments. We're kind of going off the cuff here, so forgive us for.
Why did
kinda
you say
jumping
that? I think it's ridiculously obvious.
I know. I just wanted to confront
Yeah, just in
that
case you
because-
thought we had this planned out and we're just screwing it
Well,
up.
we're not usually. We don't usually just Google stuff trying to fact check news.
There's no usual in this boat. Okay.
Which the one time I share an article, it gets fact checked by you guys.
I'm trying to be accurate. You're slinging at Trump here, and in fairness, I don't want to let Jesse see that we're not trying to be searching for the truth.
Well, and hey, look, as long as we're waiting here, I was a Trump guy in 2016. I was a Trump guy in 2020. And if he's the nominee in 2024, I'm most likely voting for him. I just don't think he's the perfect candidate. I think we have better options at this point.
Well,
Nobody's
no
a
one's
perfect
arguing that
candidate.
he's the perfect.
Yeah,
candidate.
nobody's perfect, but
You've
but
argued it a
Jesse's
couple
but
times.
I would say he's the best. You know, I mean, I can't think of anybody else I'd probably prefer. Maybe George Santos. But no,
George Santos already is the president. That's what he told me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, another one of his lies. But I'm a fan of George Santos. I respect someone who is willing to lie that much and someone who is actually able to pull it off. He is such a scam artist, but when you pull it off, man, does it look good.
There is no YouTube episode of the water cooler because it is a podcast. It's an actual audio podcast that you have to go and like.
Yeah, right. Crazy these days that people actually just do.
What website is that on there?
This was just podcast one. I'm sure that it's on. Yeah, it's on Apple Pod.
Apple,
well, we wouldn't know what part it's in, and I tried doing a little Google search here.
Plus, we can't play one live on air.
Yeah,
we're not allowed to.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
it's like a
podcast specifically from sites like this. Catch it if you do.
All right. Well, right now we don't know. We have no idea because we have to believe in Newsweek. I've been interviewed by Newsweek. Did you know that, William? I've been interviewed by Newsweek on vaccines. They wanted some guy. Just let's look up Jake Duesenberg Newsweek.
I have a clip here. It's on Twitter.
You got a clip?
I do have a clip.
We'll send it to Dawson.
I'll email it. I haven't listened to it, so I don't.
Okay, so I'm in an article in Newsweek, and the title's called "Anti-Vaxxers Could Fuel Spike in Childhood Diseases." I'm gonna send that to you, Dawson. Let's put that in just to show you the source here. Okay.
Well, look, I'm not
like
a
fully
Newsweek
saying you're
stan.
wrong, but I'm just saying consider source. I put it on the link under. Yeah, you see it. So this is anti-vaxxers could fuel spike in childhood diseases. It will be horrific, and that's a quote from somebody. Now this numbnut, Steve Price, gets my number. Obviously, we're a leading grassroots organization here in Minnesota against vaccine mandates. Against mandates, not necessarily against the vaccines, against the mandate. I don't know. Maybe if you're 65 and with some comorbidities, you might want to take the vaccine. That might be
And thank you, Trump, for getting it approved.
That's true. That's true. Risk versus reward. That's what it always comes down to in the vaccines. Now, I probably wouldn't have even if I was in that boat, but by no means can you mandate it, and by no means should kids be getting the vaccine. That's the ridiculous stuff. So anyhow, you probably just got to do a search, just do a control find for Jake Duesenberg here. I don't even remember what it said about me, but the guy was like clearly trying to get me pinned down. And at one point I tell him, he's like, wouldn't you say that what you're doing is going to create, make more people not take other vaccines? I go, that's not on me. That's these liars about the COVID vaccine that are now making more people skeptical about the other ones. So it quotes me here, those vaccines have had a long history of use, so there's certainly data that suggests they're relatively safe, the group president Jake Duesenberg tells Newsweek. But it always has to be a choice of individuals. You can't have government forcing that on us. Yes, I definitely would have said something like that. And it looks like that's the only part in the article I'm in because, of course, I didn't say what he wanted me to say. He wanted me to, like, take ownership for the people's hesitancy. And I was just like, no, it's not on me.
Yeah.
And then, so now I'm in the article that's, the anti-vaxxers or, whatever. Now, what did it say? Let me see what it said before.
By the way, Dawson, I sent that clip to your email.
Oh, no, we missed one there, Dawson. There is another quote here. Okay, then it says, well, how did they initially describe me? That's what I'm curious about. I got to scroll back up. Okay, so they say, that's an intrusion of state power. In Minnesota this month, the conservative group Action for Liberty, which boasts an email of more than 100,000 recipients, began hammering a leading Republican candidate for governor for refusing to sign the group's stop vaccine mandate. So then it goes to that quote of me. Now scroll down the page till you get to under the picture of the orchestra. Not the orchestra. It looks like a gym floor with a bunch of chairs. I don't know why I saw orchestra. And then it quotes me again. And it says, quote, I am not against anyone getting the COVID-19 vaccine. It's their choice, says Duesenberg, who declined to say if he's vaccinated against COVID. Yeah, the guy asked me. I'm like, no, I'm not telling you. What? I mean, I think you could probably tell.
Yeah.
quote, from someone that's not in the medical profession, there are risky classes of individuals who, if they were to contact the COVID-19 disease, it could be very bad for them. There's a big argument for them to get the COVID-19 vaccine. But for young, healthy individuals, that risk-reward is way different. I've heard even doctors ask why a young, healthy person would get the vaccine when you don't know the long-term effects of it. Either way, it can't be the government's choice, end quote. And that's basically what I just said, right? You know, and, of course, they want to – we've literally had 2 strikes against us on YouTube, had a whole page down. That's our position on vaccines. That right there. That is a very nuanced, very mainstream opinion right there. That's what got us banned on Facebook, or literally they wiped off our page. That's what's given us strikes on YouTube.
William, you think this is the right clip? It's from that one with the leftist guy or whatever?
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but
Let's pull it up. Let's watch it live.
the tweet says that's what the clip says.
Headsets on?
And let them make that decision.
What about the safety aspect? That's what people are concerned about now. Do you have some concerns about the safety of these vaccines?
Well, I always do, but you have to understand there are the pros and cons. If you could read some reports saying it was the greatest thing that's ever happened and we saved tens of millions of lives. Then you'll read other reports, you'll say there was some problems with the vaccines in terms of certain things, but relatively small numbers. But, you know, you have many reports that say the vaccine saved tens of millions of lives, that without the vaccines, you wouldn't have, you know, you would have had a thing like we had in 1917 where perhaps 100 million people died.
Yeah, got it. Hey, let me ask you as we kind of wrap up.
I let them make.
I don't know if there's much there, William. I don't know. I don't think that was phrased the way, because that's a genius hit piece on Trump by Newsweek, who you can see how honest they are, to try to get his people against him. But he's kind of like, well, he's being a politician. He's talking on both sides, right?
And to be fair to Jesse, we only have one pair of headphones over here, so I took the listen that time.
Oh, yeah, to be fair, huh?
So Jesse has no idea what Trump just said there.
You know, other than just what I've seen, the reporting and everything else, but, you know, even if we have a difference of opinion, me and Trump, on these vaccines, it really doesn't matter. You know, it's like that you know, we're not supposed to all think exactly the same. We're all supposed to be individuals. That's what MAG is all about, make America great again, letting everybody just live their lives the way that they see fit. And, you know, just if Trump has an opinion like that, it doesn't bother me because he's not forcing it on me. He's not forcing any kind of vaccine to anybody. He wants to give everybody the choice. So, you know, and maybe it is true that he saved 100 million lives worldwide. You know, one of the biggest things he did was shutting down the travel from China to America. We didn't need all these people from China coming into our country when COVID first started. And, you know, everybody said he's racist.
He also supported
Fauci said don't do that. And so did Ron DeSantis. You know, there's, you know, plenty of people within the Republican Party that had a lot to learn from this. And, you know, there's things to learn going back. But we had no idea this was going to happen. And my favorite thing that Trump says now, we are going to end the debt to China. You don't get to unleash this virus onto the world, and then we're still in debt to you. Trump says we're not doing it.
I call bullshit on that, Trump. Trump also said he's going to, like, cut the debt in half.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's going to completely wipe it out.
Yeah. Like,
that's even better.
He says so much bullshit that when you track it, it just doesn't come true at all.
Well, we know that the U.S. funded gain-of-function research also. And where did that funding come from? Who approved it? Donald J. Trump.
Yeah,
what do you mean
there is some interesting things.
Why do you say Trump approved it? It was like in a massive
bill.
Yeah,
but Obama put an end to it, and then it came back during the Trump administration.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, one rogue FBI agent and Trump's to blame. Like, you can't blame him for all levels of the federal government.
What's that in reference to?
Well, I'm just saying, like, you can't blame Donald Trump of all levels of the federal government, right? Like, you could have, like, a rogue FBI agent, low-level FBI agent, and you're going to be like, well, that happened under Donald Trump, so it's Donald Trump's fault.
Well, I think this is something that was approved by Trump. Like, Fauci came to Trump, and Trump's like...
You think? Was it?
I'm pretty sure William is onto something here, but, you know, I don't know.
Well, if you're onto something, that's a big ding against Donald Trump.
Right, yep. So the gain of function was ended under Obama and brought back under Trump, and obviously Trump didn't understand what he was dealing with whenever he approved of gain of function research.
That's a statement of fact. It just, was it on Trump's desk?
Right.
Because
We don't really
the whole
know.
thing is Fauci was like cleverly disguising the gain of function.
Mm-hmm.
He was basically, earmarking money, but under like false pretenses, and then they lie about what it was. It wasn't. Oh, that wasn't gain of function.
Well, Fauci should go to jail for that.
100% agree with you.
I think we all agree on
the
that.
argument on Trump here is Trump allowed that numbnuts to be in his administration.
And he should have fired him a long time
100%. That's the problem I have with Trump going forward. Is I saw you under COVID, and yes, he didn't have mandates. Much better than Biden, no doubt about it.
I mean,
but
when he was sitting
maneuvered
there
it
with
wrong.
Fauci, he's sitting there, he's laying out the facts. He's saying this is the China virus, and you can see Fauci extremely uncomfortable in the background. Fauci didn't want to, have to have Trump
So
as
all
the
we get with
spokesman.
Trump is theater. Then that's what you're telling me, not
No.
substance.
No, of course
Because
not.
look at the damage that Fauci did, and he didn't do anything about it. He let him have it, and then he signs into law the largest scam we've ever had, which is these checks to families with printed money. So you want to talk tough on debt? You're the one that increased debt more than any other president.
Every single representative and every single senator except for one voted for that.
100%. They're definitely part of the problem,
so
too.
that means that,
they're part of the problem, Jesse. But where's the leadership from
it's
Trump
Pelosi
on that?
and Mitch McConnell. He doesn't write the
Yes,
bills.
but
It's not on Trump.
Trump's the one going, Massey's a terrible person. Why is he holding up this bill? We should just give these checks to people.
Well, the
and
bill
by the
was
way,
gonna pass,
we'll
obviously.
just print the money out of thin
And actually,
air.
Trump pitched the idea first. Congress only came along later.
I don't know if I believe that. Congress has had those
Trump
ideas.
was
Congress
on
has had
Twitter.
those ideas
that's
for
right.
many
Trump
years.
was saying double the money. They were saying we're going to give it 1,000. He said give it double. And you know what?
We got an article about this on Action for Liberty.
He just wanted to help out the American people. I'm not bitter about that.
I think
he wanted to help them out, but this is going to hurt them. This is why we have inflation.
Yeah, it helped in the
because we
short
just
term,
printed
hurt in the
money
long
out
term.
thin air, and we thought we were solving a problem, which we clearly weren't solving a problem.
Let me tell you what.
Biden's definitely at fault here. Don't get me
all
wrong.
of this will seem like water under the bridge as soon as he cancels the debt to China.
But it's not going to happen. That's the thing.
Yes, it will.
It won't happen. He won't do shit.
Oh, of course he will.
But hey, listen, I don't think Ron DeSantis is doing anything. I literally have given up hope in the presidency. Like, I don't think any of these guys are going to do anything catastrophic.
We should put a poll up on YouTube just of have it say, who do you support for president? Trump, DeSantis, Glenn Youngkin, or someone else?
We should
it
do
would
it on
be
Twitter
interesting.
and have 2 respondents.
Yeah, but I'd like to know where our audience is at. I'd like to know what the percentage is of how's everyone leaning. Everyone
I'm kind of curious about that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll do something. I don't know what the right platform is.
Maybe
I
I'm
don't know
just
if we could do it on
screaming into the
Rumble.
void here.
Yeah.
Maybe I am.
We got to run because I got to get some food because we're going to be back live at 3:30 for the House floor session. They're debating HF1, House File 1, which is their abortion. In all cases, Bill, this is how extreme the left is in Minnesota. We'll be here live with commentary, what's going down. And then tonight, is Mort's show live? Or is it I think it's live. You don't know.
It's gonna be.
We should know this, shouldn't we?
They want it to be.
Okay.
I'll make it happen.
Well,
And also, one
we
last
know Mort
thing-
is doing behind the smoke screen. We're filming tonight, so.
Yeah, one last thing before we sign off, Chad Weber. I see that you've been commenting here on Facebook. Thanks for watching. He's been pointing out about the FDA, how these vaccines aren't approved through the FDA. He doesn't trust the FDA, and that Trump is going to bankrupt the deep state is what I think he's saying here. So I like it, Chad.
Yeah, there you go. Chad sounds like a male.
Yep.
Not a female. Got that, Sandra Feist?
Yep.
Always welcome on the show, Sandra, to debate the science. And we could debate climate change and vaccines as well. I'm sure you're a very different view on those issues. But the nice thing is, I think most biologists agree with my position on males versus females. I want to say 100%, but I don't know if it's 100% anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
These
according to
people are
Justice
ideologues.
Jackson, you have to be a biologist in order to determine
Yeah,
whether
that's
or not
right.
you're a male or female.
Correct.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. Well, that was a woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
We should
Are
just
you a
ask her, what's a
biologist?
female? I don't know. Maybe. Perhaps.
Yep.
I did pass biology class.
You did pass biology. That's all you need, I guess.
high
And Eric
school.
Mortensen says that Chad is a great dude.
Yeah. More. I think your show's live tonight, so 7 o'clock. Behind the smoke screen with Eric Mortensen. Be fun. Be right here in the studio. Be great. Great time.
It'll be
There's some people that say it's the best show on the internet.
Yep.
Not me. I didn't say that. but
People
they
are
say
telling
it.
me.
People
I
are
don't
telling
say
me.
this. People are telling me it's the best show on the internet, maybe
Yeah.
ever.
Go to
100
Action for
million fans because he saved 100 million lives.
Maybe more.
Yep,
Maybe
more.
Action.
Worldwide.
Yeah, we should have a tally on our thing. How many lives Trump saved, and it keeps going up. Actionforliberty.com. You could read our articles. We'll stay on top of it. It's our job to monitor the legislature for you and keep you abreast of what's important and the things that are affecting your liberty. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back here at 3:30 today live. Otherwise, we'll be back on a regular schedule on Tuesday at 1 p.m. next week. Thank you very much.